It's time to sit back and check out the RCWR show with Lee Sanders. Get fun, in-depth coverage and analysis from the latest in professional wrestling in AEW, WWE, NWA, Impact Wrestling, or the world of entertainment. From hit TV shows to your favorite sports like the NBA or NFL. All things music, movies, and beyond, while trying to make sense of this crazy world we live in. All while keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive since 2011. And now your hosts, live from the nation's capital of Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
What is going on, everybody? Covering the latest in wrestling, entertainment, and beyond since 2011. You are checking out the RCWR show for this Monday night of April 3rd, 2023. We are minutes removed from WWE RAW. It was their Raw after Wrestlemania edition. I'm very curious, what did the majority of you all think about tonight's WWE RAW? Sound off by letting your voices be heard in the comment section. You can also vote on the polls that we have up right now. Twitter at the RCWR show. Also on youtube.com/the RCWR show. Click on the communities tab and you'll be able to see the poll that way. We'll get to those results a little bit later on because I literally put those bad boys up, I would say not even 5 minutes ago. So got a little bit of a late start. Hope your weekend was pretty good. Hopefully you guys were able to get some decent amount of rest in between because we got hit with pretty much one wrestling event after one wrestling event after another wrestling event, because as I've always said for years, it's one of my favorite times of the year because even worst case scenario, you're not a WWE fan, tons of other wrestling promotions are doing their thing that WrestleMania weekend. So there's a little bit of something for everybody to my whole point, okay? Hopefully your week is off to a great start. Man, this is a nice deluxe edition episode number 1016 of the RCWR show that we're doing, by the way. There is a ton of big news that we got to get into. Some stuff that had went down WrestleMania weekend that sadly we did not get to talk about. Of course, we heard the rumblings that WWE, as far as a sale of the company goes, that something could materialize as soon as Monday, which is today, and that's exactly what had went down. I mean, there's just news after news after news to definitely dissect, provide my colorful, wonderful analysis that you all have come to know, love, and appreciate for so long since 2011. As my furry little daughter, it looks as though she has inadvertently locked herself in here in the studio. I'm just curious if she wants out. You want out, don't you? Yeah, you want out, don't you? That's what happens when you push the door. Say, this time I was prepared for her to pull her acknowledge me. For those of you, you've been noticing she's been popping up the past couple of streams because she likes being acknowledged and all that. But now that mommy is home from work, she wants to go see what's going on with mommy and everything. So let's let the little munchkin out one time here. There's no refunds, so make with what you got. All right, make with what you got. Yeah, she's already looking for her mother. All right. But without any further distractions, man, there's a lot to get into. First off, my thoughts about this edition of Raw, the Raw after WrestleMania. I gotta be totally 100 with you all. That's what you all have come to know, love, and respect for so long. This was one of the more lackluster editions for a Raw after WrestleMania. I gotta say, for me, once again, just kind of following up from what had went down with Sunday night's WrestleMania and the spamming of ads that we were experiencing, whether it was WWE's own ad placements or it was NBC Universal's ad placements. We were already bombarded during that extravaganza for night 2 with so many ads. Then we go into tonight, and it was almost as if tonight WWE was saying to us, hey, enjoy that first hour of Monday Night Raw commercial free, buddy boy, because, oh man, we're going to be making up for so much lost time and revenue, because it seemed as though you sneeze and Monday Night Raw went to a commercial break. You come back from a commercial break, you have some guys making their way to the ring. What's this? It looks like maybe they're getting ready to cut some type of a promo. We take a commercial break, we come back, yakety yak talking going on. Done with that, we go to another commercial break. It was really exhausting, right down to the point when you look at the first hour of Raw, if you were lucky, you maybe had just under 15 minutes of wrestling. That's not something to be writing home and bragging about. That's just for your first hour. And then your second hour, it just really came off as though WWE was just, well, let's put this talking segment here and let's put that talking segment there, and maybe we'll kind of put in a match here, and maybe we'll do a little. By my recollect, for the whole 3 hours, we had a total of 5 matches. Now, I would like to believe, surely, as I did walk away at one point during this 3-hour broadcast to do a little bit of laundry, I would like to believe that at some point, maybe, just maybe, there was a match that I was not made aware of that I missed. But as far as I could tell from what all I saw tonight, notes I took and everything, looked as though we had a total of 5 matches. That's not really good. And look, here's the other thing in regards to these Raw after WrestleMania matches. Now, for those of you that might say, well, surely the matches that we had tonight, Lee, surely the matches we had were pretty damn solid, even though, you know, the number was so small. Hey, it's not always about quantity, dog. Sometimes quality. You can definitely win with the quality, right? A bit average as far as tonight goes on those matches. Really, all the eggs and marbles was put on that main event match. Although, you know, for an honorable mention, I will definitely give a nod to Street Profits taking on Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. As far as a real competitive type of match that went down during these 3 hours tonight, you could definitely look at that match and say for sure that was bona fide freaking good, because that main event match, it didn't happen. Of course, we're talking about Cody Rhodes and all that. Let's first start at the top, and we'll dive more into things as we go later on into the show, because I want to dedicate its own respected segment for this. But I like the fact that WWE opened up with the King of Kings, the Chief Content Officer, Paul Levesque, Triple H. Love seeing him out there. You know, we hadn't seen him in a good minute on television, so it's always nice. Now, look, you know, for some of us, we don't go out of our ways to check him out when it comes to those press conferences. So unless it's something very noteworthy where, no, you got to watch the press conference because he said this, or hey, he did this interview, you got to check that out, you know, then, you know, usually we're just kind of just doing our thing, the majority of us. So it's always great when we see him on WWE television. And I like the tone that Triple H had set almost trying to do his due diligence to maybe persuade those that feel as though, I don't know about this WWE sale, this acquisition, as Endeavor now is going to own WWE. Not really sure how to feel about that. If you had some type of trepidations, if you felt a bit cautious, or you were maybe a little bit alarmed, or maybe you felt it's the end of an era as we know it, and no matter what you say, no matter what you do, won't convince otherwise, times are changing. Well, Triple H Paul Levesque was out there to let you know that pretty much despite everything that has gone down within, really, this deal has been underway for about a week plus, but things finally did not materialize. It wasn't final, I guess, till a day or two ago, for all intents and purposes. But you got Triple H out there basically saying, look, no matter what happens, everything as you've come to know and love about the WWE is going to remain intact. The superstars, the people in the back, the production team, everything as you have been experiencing it thus far will continue to remain the same. You know, I remember those same sentiments that was spoken just a couple of months ago by Stephanie McMahon, and we saw how that had panned out, did we not? We saw how that panned out. We saw how that announcement was done, and those that were part of the board, and how they all just pretty much jumped off the Titanic and everything. Maybe that's a little bit too extreme, but you get the point that I'm making here, right? You get the point that I'm making, and you know, you hear that, and you just want to believe that, but the action remains to be seen. You hear the talking for now, but the action needs to back it up. So I thought it was, for all intents and purposes, look, time will tell. Time will tell if things are really going to remain the same. You know, the only thing you could do for now is look at this whole acquisition and just say, you know, well, look, if you're a UFC fan, and you also happen to be a professional wrestling fan, this is definitely a win-win situation for you. If you were to maybe rewind it back 11, 15, 20 years ago and tell me that one day UFC and WWE would be under the same umbrella, I would say to you, I'm having a hard time seeing that. I really, really am. But here we are in 2023. It has become a reality. From there, I loved the fact that Triple H went over thanking several people from the production team, giving a shout out there to Stu, the camera guy, thanking the fans. But I love the particular part where he said, there's one man I definitely want to take this time out and thank. And you could see those fans at the crypto arena, or the crypt as I like to call it. You could see the fans' reactions to that, and they're immediately starting to boo, and you wonder, oh man, they're kind of trying to stick it there to Vince McMahon, huh? Who else would they be trying to stick it to verbally there? And then it was amazing because right as Triple H got to the stuff that was identifying the tribal chief, Roman Reigns, that's when you felt the shift of the crowd as they kind of went, oh, wait a minute. And then they booed even louder. What a great way to kick off Monday Night Raw with the tribal chief, Roman Reigns, and everything. Of course, big question right here. What's next for Roman Reigns? What's next for the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, as the next chapter of his saga begins, right? I mean, this is still one long story as far as Cody Rhodes back in the company, trying to finish the story, trying to do what his dad could never do in everything in the WWE. And sure enough, we get Cody that comes out there. Cody's ready to go right then and there on the spot. He's ready to face Brock Lesnar one-on-one. He wants a rematch. Heyman, Reigns denying him. Cody, okay, fine. How about a tag match? Let's go ahead. You're here, I'm here. Let's go. Roman scoffing at that idea. Well, the wise man, Paul Heyman, Roman Reigns, have a meeting of the minds, and they decide, you know what, in regards to that tag match, sure, you're on. We'll go ahead. We'll grant you a tag match, but, man, who's going to be crazy enough to do this tag match with you? Like, seriously, there's nobody in the back that likes you, not to the point that they'd be willing to tag with you. You know, you hear all of that and you're kind of going, well, what about Sammy? What about Kevin Owens there? Or what about the Street Profits? Surely one of those guys will maybe come out. And now where I'm a little bit confused, and I'll have to rely on you guys, so get ready to have your fingers ready and fire off in the chat here. But the stipulation for this tag match, this proposed tag match, did I understand this correctly, which was if Cody and his tag partner lost to Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa tonight, then Cody would never get an opportunity to challenge for the Universal World Heavyweight Championship, so as long as Roman Reigns is the champion. Did I understand that right? Because they definitely shot down Roman taking on Cody one-on-one for the titles tonight. They shot that down. But if I'm understanding how that tag match and the stipulation was laid out, if I'm understanding that correctly, let me know. If I'm not, definitely fire off. Let me know. Either way, I want to hear back from you. But the question, who would represent and partner up with Cody Rhodes in this tag match? Well, cue up the music of the beast incarnate, Brock Lesnar. Brock freaking Lesnar coming out there, blindsiding us fans. Although I did say to you guys, I mentioned it on 2, potentially 3 occasions, that rumblings were Brock Lesnar, and I said to you guys, hey, this hasn't been confirmed by Fightful or Meltzer, but there's some reports out there that Brock Lesnar is supposed to be sticking around after WrestleMania. He's supposed to work the next pay-per-view, potentially the next one after that. He's going to be sticking around just a tad bit longer. Take that with a grain of salt. I did say that to you guys, if you recall. So to see Brock Lesnar come out there was a welcome surprise, I gotta say. And you're going, wait a minute now, when was the last time we have seen Brock Lesnar in some form of a tag match? And you really had to do some digging up here. I mean, it wasn't extensive, but you had to do your research on this and know what's what. But check this out. You know, the last time Brock Lesnar was in a tag match, you have to go 6,252 days ago, prior to tonight. It was over in New Japan Pro Wrestling for their Circuit 2006 Acceleration Tag 15 on February 19th, 2006. So, 17 years ago. Damn near 17 years ago, you had to go back to see when was the last time Brock Lesnar did a tag match. And in that tag match, Brock Lesnar had teamed up with Shinsuke Nakamura as they defeated Riki Choshu and Akibono. That's how far back you had to go in regards to that. So to see that moment, you're going, wow. This is literally freaking Christmas right here. So the tone was essentially set. Although, if you looked at the way Brock Lesnar was all buddy chums there with Cody Rhodes, giving him daps and all of that. You just kind of looked at that a little side-eyed and said, something don't seem quite right here. There seems to be brewing something else. What say you? Well, fast forward to that main event match, and we would find out, as after all participants made their entrances, looked as though between Cody and Brock, two of them were trying to figure out who maybe was going to start off the match and everything. Seemed as though Cody was going to go ahead and start it off, when then all of a sudden, attacked from behind was Cody by Brock Lesnar, and it was just a devastating, vicious beating to close out Monday Night Raw. Cody Rhodes getting his ass kicked around for several minutes. We saw WWE officials try to come out there, referees. No one was willing to get into that ring with the beast incarnate to try to reason with the man. Just pure, utter chaos at its finest. Seeing Brock Lesnar F5ing Cody over the announcer's table, throwing a set of steel steps into the ring, getting Cody back in there, delivering I believe he did do a F5 to Cody on those steel steps, taking a steel chair, going to the body of Cody a couple of times. Nice. Just, yeah, you're looking at this, and you remember what I had said to you as early as the WrestleMania Night 2 post show, and I've talked about it off and on here. I said, look, I like the idea of Cody, Roman Reigns, continuing this ongoing feud of theirs, and I even said to you as early as Night 2 of the post show, what's happening here with Cody and Roman, make no mistake about it, this is merely Act 1 of possibly 3 or 4 chapters here. If they want to do this right, you could maybe have the second encounter between these two go down maybe at SummerSlam, or if you want to try to see if you can squeeze something a little bit before, you could do that and maybe make SummerSlam be the third encounter, if you wanted to do that. You have plenty of options here if you're WWE, but I felt that WWE was going to take some form of a scenic route, and that this was not going to be a case of instant gratification, giving the fans what they want and crowning Cody Rhodes the WWE Undisputed title just off the break in his first encounter with Roman. No. Let's really build this up. So the fact that Cody Rhodes was served up on a platter to Brock Lesnar, and Brock Lesnar tapped that ass. I mean, and just really stop and think about this for a second. Brock Lesnar, we've loved Brock Lesnar as of late. He's come out there with the cowboy hat, ma'am, sir, good evening, Los Angeles. Love all that. Okay, we've loved what's been happening with Brock Lesnar this rodeo. Cowboy country Brock, just a good old boy country Brock, has been one of the best things in his career. I think a lot of people would definitely nod their head in agreement of that, okay? And he definitely has proven, whether you need him as a babyface or you need him as a heel, whatever you need as far as plug and play goes, Brock Lesnar is definitely there. So the fact that we have Brock Lesnar in this position where he has instantly become a magnet for heat, for attacking everyone's favorite there, and Cody Rhodes. Oh my God, it's a beautiful masterpiece. But of course, the $1 million question, why did Brock Lesnar attack Cody Rhodes the way that he did? What's going on here? Now, we kind of were given some clues. The first being, look at when Roman Reigns was chatting it up with Paul Heyman in the back, and he asked him, hey, did you know about this? Did you know about Brock? And Heyman told him straight up, no, Tribal Chief, I did not know that. You know, Brock Lesnar, from my past experience in working with him and everything, he has a history of disappearing after WrestleMania for about 6 to 9 months, almost a year. So, no, I did not know about this. So, yeah, this is new territory for me. Had I known, yeah, obviously, I definitely would have told you, my Tribal Chief. Okay, so this obviously wasn't something that, right? And so to see what had went down in that main event match, Heyman, Roman, even Roman looking on pretty baffled, trying to understand what the hell is going on here, but very quick to make his exit, right? Very quick to make his exit. So you look at all of these inner workings, and one thing you can definitely eliminate is, okay, so officially, Bloodline, Heyman, at the top, Roman, not behind this, did not get into the ear of Brock Lesnar. All right, cool. Now, look at the fact that Brock Lesnar had came out in the last 30 seconds before the show went off the air, and he did a double flip to Cody Rhodes. He flipped him with the two birds. He gave him two middle fingers. So this is obviously pretty personal for Brock Lesnar, even right down to the point before he did the flipping of the birds. Remember, there was a spot in there where he was cursing like a mofo, and whoever was in the production truck, we couldn't hear none of that laced profanity that Lesnar was using on Cody. So this is obviously very personal for Brock Lesnar, which leads us to this point, which is, so again, why? Why did this go down? What's Brock Lesnar's motivation here for him doing what he did? I think it's quite simple. When it's all said and done, I think Brock Lesnar did what he did to Cody Rhodes for the simple fact, okay, based off what I've been seeing so far, damn, you're being kind of dubbed and knighted as the Great White Hope of the WWE. You know, I bust my ass for this company, and yeah, I made tons of fucking money for the WWE and everything. And, you know, all the sacrifices that I've made, all the money that I've made for this fucking company, and how do they fucking repay me? How do they fucking repay me? First, they try to put me in a match with some fat clown. I'm telling you, if WWE does not go here, I would be very, very shocked, okay? Okay? And then they try to put me, they try to give me this match, well, with this stupid Omos kid, right? It's like, I'm Brock fucking Lesnar. I'm a future Hall of Famer. I'm a main eventer. I can see him being very bitter about what happened in his positioning at WrestleMania, right? I can see that happening. Oh, not to mention, that was like the first match for night 2, was it not? That was the first match for night 2 to open up the WrestleMania card, was Lesnar and Omos. So I can see Lesnar being in a position where, yeah, not exactly a happy camper, meanwhile, the way that Lesnar is perceiving it, Cody Rhodes, we know differently. Cody is busting his ass, going in and out, just slowly chipping away, getting these opportunities that's coming to him. He's earning them, but maybe that's not how Brock Lesnar is perceiving it, okay? So how Brock Lesnar is feeling, rather than obviously take it to management, he's pretty much taking it to. So, there is so much you can do right here, especially if you want to do it in such a way where you want to have Brock Lesnar maybe even acknowledge the fact that, he's not sure what the hell is going on with this company. Sadly, when he found out about the sale, it was pretty much like everybody else. He read the crap online, and, he can talk about how this wasn't always the case. I have a feeling that all of these things, the totality of it all, I have a feeling that in some kind of way, this is what you can most likely expect
the promo for Brock Lesnar on Cody. But make no mistake about it, I love this move. I love this move. Continue, look, what you did with Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. If there was ever any doubt that Cody is not ready for the main event, that definitely was silenced in that main event at WrestleMania. Okay? So you definitely cleared the air on that. And everything that you've been doing so far with Cody, remember how I referenced him last night on the post show? I said, dude has been big match Cody Rhodes since he has returned. And now what you got to do is put him in a position where he can get some key marquee matches where he gets W's. So for sure, Lesnar, yes, he needs key matches. Build them up. Keep building them up. Make no mistake about it, though. The route is still the same as far as Cody Rhodes ultimately becoming the next undisputed heavyweight champion. We're just taking the scenic route to it. Y'all may not like it. You want your cake right then and there. You're ready for dessert. The hell with the main entree. You want your dessert right then and there. I get that, but WWE, you got to give them credit. Since Triple H and crew have pretty much been at the helm, the storytelling that they have been doing has been on point with key superstars, Cody definitely being one of them. I say, and I would implore to you guys, trust the process for all it's worth, because they have a lot in mind and they do mean well. And when you got a lot of great things that's firing on all cylinders, you stay with it. And as long as you're able to come up with really cool, creative ideas that makes a lot of sense and that the fans are going to enjoy, and it's going to be, without a shadow of a doubt, an emotional roller coaster, then you know what? Stay the course, I say. So just sit back, enjoy it. But they're doing the scenic route. Well, that's it for WWE Raw. Subscribe. No, seriously. I hope you appreciated that for all it's worth, because everything else was just pretty much a big-ass fucking yawn. It really, really was. Elias squash match losing to Omos. The Rey Mysterio Austin Theory spot, I did enjoy that. I thought that was nice that the night after WrestleMania, or the weekend after WrestleMania, I should say, Austin Theory comes out there. Hey, he's already taken out one legend per se in John Cena. Now he's pretty much going for another legend. He's like the new legend killer per se. I set there for Rey Mysterio and all that. I would definitely love to see that. I'm hoping maybe they'll come back to that. If not, I'm cool with it. But we did have Rey Mysterio, Austin Theory fighting for a bit. Dominic Mysterio interfering, that pretty much had got the match thrown out. So technically Rey Mysterio winning via disqualification. Bad Bunny was at ringside, so you already know what time it is, right? Dom getting into the face of Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny standing his ground. Dominic trying to take a cheap shot on Bunny. Bunny countering it, catching that fist that was about to connect, catching it in time, landing his own punch, did Bad Bunny. Damian Priest not exactly happy with what he had saw. Dom tried to attack Bunny from behind. He got knocked down again. Damian this go round. Okay, yeah, no, I gotta hurt you. So look as though apparently Bad Bunny supposedly he's got an injured shoulder, arm, and all that. But look, when this is all said and done, what they're ultimately setting up right here for sure is going to be a tag match between Rey Mysterio, Bad Bunny taking on Dominic and Damian Priest at Backlash in Puerto Rico. And if that's the route that they're gonna go, I'm totally okay with that. Seriously, Bad Bunny, he's proven to me that he can definitely hang, so I don't think he's going to disappoint when it's all said and done. I wonder if we're gonna be doing this whole Austin Theory, the new legend killer type of deal, then you know what? I don't know what the current status is of Randy Orton, but if he's close to coming back, there's something you can do right there down the pipeline, Theory and Randy Orton, especially if you want to go with a face, Randy Orton. I mean, it makes total sense. Makes total sense to pretty much go in that direction. Now, speaking of potential returns, we did see the return of Matt Riddle tonight. Matt Riddle looking very refreshed, very rejuvenated, pushing trunks now, no longer pushing shorts. He's now pushing trunks. Then again, maybe he was always pushing trunks. I don't think he was. I'm pretty sure he wasn't. So you guys can sound off, refresh my memory, let me know, get everybody else memory jogging there. Segment didn't last that long with him though, because he pretty much had crashed the scene there on The Miz, who was not too keen on what had went down with Pat McAfee, Shane McMahon, Snoop Dogg. By the way, we got a health update on Shane O'Mac. Shane McMahon did in fact tear his quad, as if we needed for somebody to tell us. We obviously were able to tell with our own two eyes that something wasn't quite right. And now, remember, we were just following up on pure observation from what all had went down there with that Shane McMahon spot, and how I gave a lot of props to referee Jessica Carr, but apparently more information has come out since, as apparently it was ultimately Miz and Snoop Dogg that pretty much was like, yo, we got to pull some type of an audible here. Jessica Carr definitely realizing what the hell's going on, trying to help clean things up as best as she could and figure out what's the game plan and everything. So, I mean, collectively, all three of them, chef's kiss, mad props for them working on such a short notice, not being deers in headlights, figuring out, okay, we got to somehow take this home. I don't know who gets the proper credit for, Snoop, do the people's elbow. I don't know if maybe that was Jessica Carr audible, or if that was a Miz audible, but you got to give all three of them their respected props, because they all had worked together, realizing Shane was not going to be able to finish that respected segment for what it was worth. The Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn taking on the Profits match, KO, Sami picking up the win. That was, as far as matches for this week's Raw, this was a one-match show. That was definitely the match to check out. So if you guys got Raw on your DVR, you haven't watched it yet, definitely go out of your way and watch that matchup. Very fun, nice, competitive, great pacing going on there. Everybody did pretty good in that one. Even Dawkins. I've been coming around a lot more to him as of late. He's doing pretty good, man. From there, we had Lashley in a squash match against Mustafa Ali. Leading up to this match, we saw Lashley cross paths with Bronson Reed. Bronson feeling as though maybe he could learn a little something from the learning tree that is Bobby Lashley, but at the same time, maybe Reed could teach Lashley a thing or two as well. Lashley not thinking too keen about this, looking at that as fighting words, was ready to get down right then and there with Reed, but Reed saying he wasn't prepared to fight tonight, but be careful what you wish for. So, the fact that we've got this new younger blood here in Bronson Reed, possibly doing something there with the Almighty, that does intrigue me, I gotta say, because not for nothing, but Bronson Reed has pretty much he's just been floating there, really no substance behind him and everything. So the fact that we're gonna move in the direction of doing something with him and Lashley, I definitely welcome it, especially if it means not only can he get a good rub off, but it is a learning tree at this point, because you're going to be working with a former multi-time heavyweight champion from a couple of different promotions and all that. So I definitely welcome that. Liv Morgan and Raquel Gonzalez taking on Io Sky and Dakota Kai. I'm not going to even lie to you guys. I probably saw maybe the first 2 minutes of this match, and then I decided, yeah, I'm good. I don't really need to see anything else here. So I used this pretty much as my bathroom break when it was all said and done. We did see a spot with Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley. Bianca, wondering what's next for her and everything. This had happened right before that women's tag match, by the way. Rhea Ripley had came out, scoffed at the idea of Bianca being the EST of the WWE when they haven't crossed paths yet. Rhea promising that they will get down to prove once and for all who really is the best and everything. And Bianca pretty quick to point out to Rhea, hey, you had your chance when you won the Royal Rumble. You had your choice of the champion you wanted to face at WrestleMania, and for whatever respected reason, you didn't choose me. So why not just relish in the fact that you're currently the SmackDown Women's Champion and leave it at that? But you know what? When you're ready, you know where to find me, and we'll definitely do this. So that was a nice little, because remember, all last year they were circling around each other and everything, and you just thought for sure they were going to be doing something with one another. And look, if I were to make a bold prediction right now, I would say maybe SummerSlam is when the earliest and possibly the latest that we might see something with these two girls. And hell, that'd be something if it was a winner take all match. I'd be down with that. I don't know about you guys, but I would definitely be down with that. So yeah, a lot of what had went down tonight, a lot of these matches, you could honestly rate them. I know the Omaha squash joint, you just look at that and you just go no rating. But everything else, with the exception of Profits taking on Sammy and KO, which I'd probably give that maybe a B- at most. Everything else was a C. I appreciate the effort, but really nothing else in there you can really sink your teeth into. But yeah, this was, as far as effort, creativity, energy, all of that was just not here. And usually the Raw after WrestleMania is the opposite. Usually the Raw after Mania, you're going, man, don't know who's gonna appear. Anything can and will happen here. Oh, this is gonna be awesome. But this was the absolute drizzles, I have to say. And look, not for nothing, but it's not good for me to be here in this chair tonight saying to you that out of the 5 matches, the best match that was on the card, really 4 matches, because the main event match, it did not happen. So, out of the 4 matches that was on this card tonight, the fact that it was only 1, and it was, I appreciate the effort by KO and all of them, but that doesn't say a lot. It really doesn't when you get right down to it. So, nice that you had Riddle make his return and all that. But yeah, it just seemed like everybody was on vacation on this episode. It just came off like, yeah, we're good. We'll just phone it in. Yep. So that was that. Probably the shortest Raw recap that we have done to date, or at least kicking off 2023. If you guys been enjoying yourselves so far, if you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that like button and definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you guys don't miss out on future content that comes your way. You hear that? Those of you that's going to be listening for on demand and on downloads, make sure you show that love and subscribe. So loads of more other things that we can get into. Now look, they did not mention it on tonight's WWE Raw, and before anybody says to me, oh, but it was definitely acknowledged by WWE on their website and or on social media, I always say television division still counts. You got Raw, you got NXT, you got SmackDown. It all still counts. Hell, if we're able to find the time here on a podcast to acknowledge the news of Bushwhacker, Butch Miller, from the weekend, that's when we had first brought it up. We brought up the fact that, he was out there with Luke for WrestleMania weekend, and basically they were doing a whole bunch of autograph signings, events, things of that nature, and they were supposed to be doing some stuff all weekend at Wrestlecon. And apparently Bushwhacker Butch, he fell gravely ill. And apparently from some people that actually were there in attendance, they saw when the ambulance had came up, and depending on how close one was, you would have been able to, oh yeah, it was da 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 da. Whereas majority that weren't, their vision was obscured or whatever, they definitely knew that something weird had happened, but didn't really have enough information to go on to find out what was going on. But we last told you like a little over 24 hours ago about Bushwhacker being ill, and he had flew in from America, from his home country, to do this whole weekend and everything, and he went right to the hospital, and apparently he passed away. He passed away at that hospital. Bushwhacker Luke had confirmed his passing on social media earlier today, and that's just, it's very unfortunate. I had put out a tweet, and I basically said, in regards to Bushwhacker Butch Miller, damn, another piece of my childhood that's gone. Another piece of my childhood from my days as a very young wrestling fan. And I could just remember back in the day when the Bushwhackers would come out and they would do their little arm strut, power walk down the ramp, going into the ring, and they go into the ring and they're working all the ropes, hitting those little poses, got the funny little goofy faces going on and everything. But man, once you got past all that silliness, man, those boys could fucking go. They could fucking go. And I love those guys tremendously from back in the day. And there's just so much that, obviously, the first thing that comes into my mind, and I didn't really learn this until I had got older, because around the time that I saw them as a kid, I was in the single digits as a kid when I saw them, and I fucking loved them. But it wasn't until when I got older, I would say late teens, going into my early 20s, and we got the beautiful thing, the internet, we're able to see all kinds of cool shit and everything. That's when I started learning about what they did before they came to the WWE/F, when they were the sheep herders. And man, the insane amount of craziness that would go down in their matches. These guys, the Bushwhackers, when they were the sheep herders, and shout out if you remember when they were the sheep herders, they were some sick, crazy motherfuckers. Before ECW became a thing, before it was cool to say extreme and all of that, these guys were definitely pioneers. They were years ahead of their time. They definitely were the godfathers, if you will. They had bloody brawls with the Fantastics. That was definitely incredible. You think about the ultra-violent barbed wire match that they had in Puerto Rico against the Invaders. You definitely need to look that up. That was some sick fucking shit right there. One of my personal favorites. You look at what they did when they were down in Mid-South, when they were taking on the Fantastics. These guys, insane. And that's what pretty much, because of what they did on the independents and all that, that's ultimately what brought them to the dance in the WWE/F. But, obviously, because of the type of product that Vince McMahon, Jr., Kennedy, because of his vision and, what he saw and everything, obviously they had to significantly downplay, what the Bushwhackers were. and now they're just licking people's heads and eating raw beans and stuff out of a can, and all kinds of slapstick comedy type of stuff. But they made it work. They made it go over, and I got to give them a lot of freaking props, because obviously when you're a kid and you're watching them, you can't compute, you can't put, but as an older wrestling fan, you're like, wow, so you did all this other stuff outside of the WWE, but you put all that to the side and did a 180, where most people probably would have said, yeah, no, I gotta stay true to myself. I don't feel comfortable doing that. I don't care what amount of money you're gonna offer me. If I can't stay true to the character I've already spent a little bit of time working on here, if I can't do what I'm already doing, we out. We ain't doing this no more. I just find that to be amazing on so many levels and everything, man. So I always heard nothing but good things about these guys. Man, they were definitely, as far as friends of the shoot industry, friends of podcasts. I never got an opportunity to do a podcast with them. I'm not gonna even lie to you guys, because some people, I always wanted to have them on the show. I always I was getting ready to do something with them, and my God, they passed. Nah. They never ever crossed my mind as far as doing a podcast, like let's make it materialize. I know there was a phase in our show history where I would do interviews with wrestlers every single week and everything, but they were never on my radar. It wasn't really until, I would say, maybe 3 years ago at most, I was kind of, what old school, and I kind of toyed with the idea of, hey, wouldn't it be cool if maybe you could do something with the Bushwhackers, right? Wouldn't it be cool if you could do something with them and, talk about the old school Mid-South days and all that, but I never really got off my ass and made it happen and all that, right? So, but yeah, I definitely respected their contributions to the business, man. You also think about Killer Brooks, Ali Madrill, think about all the programs they're working with those guys. Very sad to hear that. Very, very sad to hear that. So definitely I would like to extend a heartfelt set of condolences, prayers to the friends, family, colleagues, definitely fellow wrestling fans of Bushwhacker / Sheep Herder's own Butch Miller. He had a nice run, 78. That's a nice little run. It's just unfortunate that he didn't pass back in his home country there in New Zealand, because he traveled from New Zealand to come to the United States for Wrestlemania weekend. That's very unfortunate. I can only imagine what Bushwhacker Luke is going through right now. I mean, oof. All that traveling, all that time that you've been together, and to lose them pretty much like that, and not really being able to. You would hope that he was able to give that proper goodbye, but you can never really be sure, because it's like, well, were they at least coherent at some point, or right? Just it's crazy stuff like that, But definitely, once again, heartfelt condolences, thoughts, prayers. It's very, very unfortunate. On a little bit of a lighter note, but on a more serious setting, serious tone. I told you guys we would talk about it here on the show. and that is the stuff that went down with Gisele Shaw. Now, for those of you that don't really frequent social media like that, you're not really doing your thing as far as wrestling news goes and all of that, knowing who's who and everything. Because I know prior to what went down over the weekend, I know a majority of the people honestly didn't even know who the fuck Gisele Shaw was. I know of Gisele Shaw because for those of you that's been checking out my WOW Women of Wrestling recaps, which I'm looking forward to getting back on the saddle and doing again. We've missed about 3 episodes, definitely this weekend because Wrestlemania weekend and all that, but I'm looking forward to this week. You know, I'm going to be on vacation from the shows this week, but behind the scenes, I'm going to be working on a couple of different things that maybe I'll have be uploaded this week, or maybe I'll do something, you know, for next week. But I'm going to be working on some stuff between you know, now and next week and everything. And for those of you curious, it's just that time of the year. Usually after I'm done with WrestleMania, I like to take the rest of the week off after the Raw After Mania show is done, and the timing is perfect because I actually have a paper that's going to be due. It was supposed to be due this week, but I have it now extended to next Tuesday. It's a literary media analysis paper I got to work on for a book that we got done reading as a class. So looking forward to working. I was dealing with a little bit of writer's block before, but now I'm pretty good. I'm ready to go. Saw my midterm grades for a majority of the classes, but for this particular one, I'm really excited for, because it opens up so many doors for other classes I'll be able to take at the same time, you know, one step closer to really, you know, wrapping things up and everything, getting my degree, and sitting on an A right now. Your man is sitting on an A right now, so I'm pretty excited. A's for all the classes, but for this particular one, which I really like, because I like the professor. He's pretty cool at what he does and everything. But you know, Gisele Shaw, I was familiar with her work a couple of years back from WOW Women of Wrestling, and I remembered when she was wrestling as Azteca. She was wrestling under a mask. And then there was a period there where her character went through a major shift, and she had decided to ditch the mask, and she was repackaged as Reina Reyes. And she was good. I remember singing her praises on the WOW recaps back then. And now she's been wrestling, you know, still on the independents, but her permanent home has been on Impact Wrestling and everything. So a little bit of a backstory, because again, I know a majority of the people weren't even sure who the hell this girl was until they saw her name pop up and all that from over the weekend. So apparently some stuff had went down involving her and a WWE Hall of Famer, Pro Wrestling Hall of Famer, Steiner, Rick Steiner of the Steiner brothers with Scott Steiner. And here's what she said in her own words. I'm going to read it to you. Not that long. Actually, you know what? Hang on a second here. Let's go to... Actually, let me go to the Twitter app, because the page that I'm trying to read, it keeps giving me the second page of what she's saying, and that's not what I want. All right, so now we're good. All right, so here's what she said.
Spring.
I have been bullied all my life and have never stood up for myself because I'm scared that I would get beat up physically, mentally, or emotionally. The bullies in my life have always silenced me, but that ends today. I was at an autograph signing event at Wrestlecon, and while I was walking to my table, I hear someone yelling, "You're a man, you're a dude, you're a piece of trash, you are filth, get the fuck away from here." I kept my head down and kept walking as I did not want to acknowledge that hate. When I arrived at my table, I spoke to another Impact Wrestling talent who was at the signing with me and mentioned the incident. It didn't sit well with me, and I wanted to know who was saying that because it's unacceptable. So I decided to take a walk in that area, and I hear that same person saying the same derogatory comments. I looked at the person, and it was Rick Steiner saying those statements. I was shocked and could not believe this was even happening. To have someone saying these comments who, of all people, look up to and consider their hero was quite shocking and disheartening. I was in disbelief, so I asked him, "Excuse me." He kept repeating those hateful phrases and started yelling at me in a public setting. It was inexcusable and unacceptable. Another disappointing part, this whole incident, was that there was other wrestling legends who just sat there, turned their heads away, did not want to get involved or stand up for what's right because it involved one of the boys. Judging from that experience, it was more important for them to watch something wrong go down as opposed to standing up for someone who's being bullied and doing what's right. I am not writing this because I want sympathy. I am writing this because I am done being bullied to silence. Today is International Transgender Day of Visibility, and I am standing up for myself and for other people who go through the exact same situation on a daily basis. I want everyone to know what kind of deplorable person Rick Steiner is and that this cannot be tolerated. This keeps happening because people let it slide and do not take any action. If you do business with these type of people, then I will not do business with you. So, obviously a lot of her Impact Wrestling peers, that had saw this. I know Moose was definitely one of those people. He had literally took a flight out the day the incident in question went down, because he was traveling elsewhere. He was very quick to come to Gisele's defense and pretty much say, if I would have been there, this definitely would not have gone down because I would have gotten in that person's face. One of the referees, I don't know if it's a referee for Impact Wrestling, but one of the referees had commented that they witnessed it with their own eyes, what had went down, and saw it to be very disturbing. Gia Miller, I don't think Gia Miller, let me actually go back here. I don't think Gia Miller was somebody else that was there that has saw what happened, but I know she had commented on the situation as well. And as you would imagine, this has made a lot of people jump out there and say, man, this type of behavior is definitely unacceptable. This totally, it isn't cool. This is wrong. This is very, what the hell and everything. And obviously, Wrestlecon, they found out. I would imagine they had reached out to Gisele and, get her take on what all had went down. I would imagine they also had spoke to that referee, and they ended up issuing a statement of their own, basically saying, yeah, you know what, we don't condone this type of behavior, totally unacceptable as a result of Rick Steiner's outbursts and poor behavior. He's been banned from the rest of the Wrestlecon events that were happening that weekend. I'm looking at that and I'm going, we can do a little better than that. How about, you're just banned from WrestleCon indefinitely, because what you're essentially doing, that's just a nice little slap on the wrist. That's not really a full-blown, hey, there's consequences for your actions here. It's so badass to see, other promotions jump out there besides Impact. I know Progress Wrestling, a few others, definitely a ton of wrestlers. I mean, you even had old school heads like Ricky Morton, of the Midnight Express. Even he jumped out there and was like, yo, this is not cool. Nah, man, totally unacceptable. And, my whole thing is, my whole thing is, look, obviously with the previous administration, how one individual may feel about minorities, about same-sex couples, about particular religions, beliefs. Obviously, certain individuals that have felt negatively about a lot of those areas that I just highlighted, under the previous administration, this really gave them the kahunas. It gave them that adrenaline that they needed to, well, hell, if the president is saying all of this, well, shoot, that's all the validation that I need. I can definitely say XYZ as well, because freaking president is saying it, so I can freaking say it as well. So not to get too political, but I think we all can be in agreement that the previous administration definitely amplified what was already an underlining. Make no mistake about it. I'm not just throwing this previous president and his administration under the bus, because we witnessed the brewing of this. This was in the oven during Obama's terms. Let's make sure we're crystal clear on that. We already got a firsthand, of, hey, this has been brewing since Obama, but it just exploded from the damn oven with the previous administration. And this is pretty much where we are now. You would just like to believe that in 2023, if you don't feel a particular way about a certain group of people, be it because of the color of their skin, their sexual preference, whatever, that, okay, despite that, look, I'm in a public setting. I don't care if I'm by myself. I don't care if I'm with 5, 10, 20 freaking friends of mine. I'm in a public setting. I'm not going to go there. I'm just going to do my best to steer clear of them, avoid them at all costs. If I'm going to talk trash about them and all that, I'm going to do that behind closed doors with my intimate, immediate circle. That's how I'm going to do it. Right? That's how I'm going to do it. But, these people, they, and I'm not talking about a particular group of people, race-wise, just these individuals that feel as though they can say anything publicly and not face any type of consequence for it whatsoever. It baffles me. It just always perplexes me. And what's even more wow is the fact that, if this would have been Scott Steiner, most people would have been, typical Scott, because my God, we used to always, back in the day, we used to always talk about Scott Steiner when he was in the news, and he'd make fun of Triple H and Vince and McMahon, and if it was Scott Steiner, you go, typical Scott Steiner. Okay, yeah, this makes a lot of sense. Okay. But Rick Steiner, we haven't heard jack shit from Rick Steiner. Rick Steiner is just, other than doing autograph signings, Rick Steiner is living a quiet civilian life. He's got some joint and dealing with a teacher's board or whatever, something to do with education. He's been doing that for a handful of years. I don't know if he's still active with that. He's also in the real estate industry, very successful in the real estate industry. And the fact that you hear that, wait a minute, this guy, and what's even more, let me burst this bubble right now. We got some people out there that just love conspiracy theories, right? So we got some people out there, motherfuckers, oh, I made this chair too low. Wait a minute. I made this chair too low. Let me boost this up a little bit. Hang on. There we go. Let's boost it one more time. There we go. That's better. We got these motherfuckers that are going, well, there's no video footage out there, so she's a liar. I don't believe what she's saying. She's definitely lying. So yeah, where's the proof? How come there's no other fans that's talking about this? How come there's no other people that are stepping up and saying something? Because we, my dear friends, are living in the type of society sadly, where there is some type of conflict, immediate conflict, and you are bearing witness to it, unless you personally know that person, or hey man, that is totally wrong what's going on, I gotta step in there, I gotta intervene, because yeah, damn it, that's wrong, you can't do that, that's not cool. Unless you're one of those type of people, you're gonna just keep standing by, you're just gonna look cautiously, quietly, ready to bust out your phone and maybe record a fight if it's gonna go down, or you're just gonna let's go back this way. Let's go back this way. These same people that are saying XYZ, I'm pretty sure in some form they have seen their fair share of some type of harassment going down on a public transit system, be it train or bus. Saw somebody that was getting harassed, and rather than step up and, hey, leave them alone. You don't know them. Why are you messing with them? They don't want to be bothered. Leave them alone. Or, at least go contact police or whoever. Nah, just hope they don't come over here and mess with me. And you know what? Matter of fact, next stop, I'm just going to get off and I'm going to go in on the next train car, or I'm just going to take the next train, or, all right, I don't want no conflict. Okay? We're all guilty of that. And there ain't nothing wrong with that. In this day and age, when you're not sure if a mofo has a gun or a knife, you don't know what's going on with their head, how mentally damaged they are, okay? I get that. But you got those that are willing to do the right thing, and they step up, or they at least pull out their phone, text police or non-emergency or whatnot, and keep it moving along. Here's the other thing. You know how many people, we're talking about an event basically that is like a con event. But in this case, we're talking about a con event for wrestlers. Okay? So, I've covered enough con events. I've not seen anything of a disruption nowhere near the magnitude of what went down with Gisele Shaw. Want to be crystal clear on that. But people are constantly in a fluid motion. They're just moving along. If they're noticing that, oh man, these people are shouting kind of aggressively here, hey, this kind of seems a little bit tense, most people are just, let's maybe come back here later. Let's just go over here. All right. I'm not making excuses. I'm just stating facts. Okay. The other thing, Gisele Shaw, not defending her, I'm just stating the obvious. Gisele Shaw has never been involved in any kind of controversy, some type of weird bullshit. I mean, other than what went down over the week, first time you ever heard of her name. For some of you guys, a lot of you guys, first time you ever heard her name, and you're like, who is this person? Who, So the fact that some people were trying to imply that, she's somehow lying here. Where's the proof? Like, not everything, needs to be, well, here's a video. Here is, this, I honestly believe this was not her chasing some type of clout. This was not her trying to pull some type of a stunt because it's April Fool's weekend and all of that other shit. Here's the other thing you need to look at. The fact that enough time has lapsed and Rick Steiner has yet to issue some type of a statement taking some form of accountability, at least saying, hey man, this is totally bullshit. These reports, they are not true whatsoever. I'm sorry that this person feels the way that they do, but no, like I said, nothing of that magnitude. The longer that this goes, remember the old saying that I've always put out there on the shows over the years, if you know in your heart that you have done nothing wrong, and what is being described of whatever claims that you did, if you know without a shadow of doubt that you've committed no such, it's okay to be angry because it's your name. It's your reputation that is essentially being damaged, and with no proof to even validate these claims that's being made against you, hell yeah, you should be upset. Hell yeah, you should definitely be passionate to the point of, no, I gotta stand my ground here because this is wrong and I'm not gonna take this laying down. No, you're not gonna come at me with this. The fact that he has not issued any type of a statement, that lets you know that, yo, this don't look, and the fact that Scott Steiner hasn't even said anything on behalf of his brother, that, you know, mum is the word. That should definitely let you know that pretty much where there's smoke, there is definitely fire. Okay? And, you know, it's very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. So, you know, I really hope that this is a teachable lesson for our society here, because I can look at a situation like what happened with Gisele, and this would be no different than, I literally watched a news report literally 2 nights ago, local news out here in DC. There was 2 Asian girls, probably in their early to mid 20s. They were minding their own business. They were walking down the street. A black person was yelling obscenities at them, telling them they need to go back to their own fucking country, saying they were responsible for the yellow fever that they brought over here to this country, called them all kinds of, and was following them for a few blocks. They ended up, I think, maybe going into their car or something, and this person, I guess they had a vehicle or something, they were following them, or whatever. And I might have this case mixed up with another Asian hate crime incident, but I do remember this black person apparently had stalked them, and these women, they were trying to ask anybody that was within their vicinity, hey, can you please help me? Can you please help my friend? We have this person that is harassing us, and, you know, we kind of fear for our lives here. Can you maybe help? Not one person lifted a finger to help them. Just silent, kept moving along. Kind of sad, ain't it? Kind of sad. That's our society, you know, within reason. That's part of the society that we're dealing with today. I forget how the situation had got resolved, but you know, eventually they did not apprehend that person. That much I do remember. They did not apprehend that person. So, you know, you see stuff like this, definitely no different than a black person being pulled over by the police because they maybe meet some description, and, you know, that person knows damn well they were nowhere near said scene of the crime or whatever, and they're like, well, officers, what proof do you have other than, you know, I meet some description, like I'm literally just getting off of work, I just came from the blah 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 McDonald's, the receipt's still here in the bag, so you know I was definitely coming nowhere near from the direction you're talking about of where this alleged crime had took place. And, you know, there is a lot of, let's be real, there is a lot of bullshit, discriminating, anti-Semitism and a whole bunch of other, all right, keeping it 100 with you guys, seriously, you know. So that's phase 1 of it. Heaven forbid you know right and wrong, and you say, hey, man, this person being attacked, this isn't cool, this isn't right, yo, man, that's yeah, come on, man, that ain't right. And you try to speak up for that person. And here's another reason why most people won't be in a situation where, let me step up, let me try to intervene, let me try to help out, let me try to, let these folks know, hey man, this is wrong. You can't operate that way. This is totally wrong. Hey, that's unacceptable. What are you doing? Leave that person alone. Because those that want to do something fear that, oh, well, maybe they're going to be called, if they're trying to help out some black person because they see this black person is being harassed by, white racist police officers, or you fill in the blank, well, maybe they're going to be dubbed a lover. Okay? Keeping it 100 with you guys. Oh, if you're defending that Asian person, that Oriental person, oh man, you must be a freaking yellow fever lover, or maybe you had a hand in bringing the virus over here too, huh? It's gonna be, that's how it's gonna be. And so you'll see a lot of people that's going to be quiet, turn the other cheek when they see stuff like this go down. I want to read to you guys a few comments. Let me open up a web browser here, because this definitely relates to me, because your man had fell victim to some of the stuff that was going on here with these comments for Gisele, because I actually spoke up for Gisele. And I want to read to you guys exactly what I had said and prove the point that I've been making thus far. You cannot make this up in regards to these comments that I'm about to read to you. And if you doubt any of these comments, you guys are more than welcome to go on Twitter at the RCWR show. And that's the best part. You don't need to have a Twitter account. All you got to do is just twitter.com/THE, the RCWR show. Click on replies, and you'll see the joint from the Gisele Shaw thread, which went down around, hang on, I'll give you a really good timestamp here in a second. I'm about to hit it in a few seconds. About to hit in a few seconds here. Let me see here. We're already on April 2nd. Hang on, guys. I should be getting ready to hit it in about 3, 2, 1. Damn, I did a lot of tweeting for WrestleMania weekend. I didn't realize I tweeted so much during WrestleMania weekend. That actually makes me feel pretty good. I thought I wasn't tweeting enough during WrestleMania weekend. That was my whole deal, but turns out I was. Here you go. Go to April 1st, okay? You'll see my reply to her. Here's what I said. After she put all that out there, here's what I said. Never knew you were trans. Now, I want to stop before I go any further, because shout out to listener, supporter of the show, friend of the show, Eddie. Eddie and me, we stayed talking women's wrestling and other stuff. And I remember when all this had went down, Eddie was the first people that I had asked, because I figured, if anybody would know, Eddie would know. I said, Eddie, when did she come out? Because this is news to me. I never knew she was trans. And he was like, oh, she came out last year, Lee. I was like, really? I'm like, because, yeah, it's not saying anything in her bio. He's like, yeah, I saw that. He's like, nah, but she came out last year. I'm like, okay. So, go back to what I said. Never knew you were trans. You know what? That's okay, as you're still beautiful and a woman in my book. The hell with the haters. Keep doing you. If it ain't about positivity, don't have anything to do with it. Forward, always forward. This was my way of saying, look, as long as you are comfortable under your own skin, nothing else matters. Hey, man, if you identify as, a she, a him, a they, that's, what? That's your respected right. God fucking bless you. Keep doing you. Whatever, just keep doing you. That was the way I pretty much was breaking it down. okay? Because speaking as a black person, you know, if anybody should know about trials and tribulations and the struggles that a minority group has had to endure to try to get to a point where you're being treated with dignity and respect as any human being would want, it is definitely black people, okay? Speaking as a black person, my grandparents, my great-grandparents that came before me went through such great struggles. They participated in marches. They did protests. They took beatings. Some got hanged. Some got killed. All in the name of, hopefully one day in the near future, people like me, people like you, we minorities would be able to, hey, we can go vote. We don't have to do some stupid, can you read, can you write, say the alphabet, write the numbers down. Guess how many bubblegum balls are in this jar, and if the number is right, you can vote. We don't have to go through any of that stupid crap. We've made progress, but we still got a long ways to go. Obviously, if what went down this weekend had taught us, we got a long ways to go, for sure, okay? So, get ready for the comments. Get ready for the comments. Here we go. You ready? So these were the replies. Now, for granted, let's not take this for granted. 3 retweets for my comment on her joint. 3 retweets, 41 likes, 12,800 views. I'll read them as they had came in. Cult Film Fan had said, I didn't know either and thought and still do. She is so hot and was the main reason I watched Impact. I know I'm an old perv, but wow, she is super sexy to me. Rick, gross, puke out face emoji. Jose Morales, part 2. He's a guy, so you're attracted to a guy. Betty Basics doesn't give a follow cult about whatever he's trying to... That's a long-ass handle. He's a cheating man who likes to beat up women. That makes him a total scumbag. He is not referring to me. He is referring to Rick Steiner. Jimmy. Yeah, same, bro. I had no idea. Although it's not a shock, Rick is a scumbag. That's well documented. Archie Bunker, Cleveland version. She is a man, biologically. Clown face emoji. Doc Bikes. This means you're a homosexual, just so you know. John Gurley. He ain't gonna let you suck it. Calm down. Laughing out loud emoji. Joe Black. Using one of my favorite Kim Jong, that actor that's on, he's a judge on one of those shows. I Can See Your Voice, The Maskless, The Masked Singer. Gay! Ha! Gay! Read you a couple more. So you think a man who dresses up like a woman is hot? Wow, what are you smoking? Guess that makes you gay if you're a guy. It's a dude, not a woman. Understand, a dude. Friggin' Dion. It's not a woman. Quit with the shit. Teet Sheehan. This means you are gay. This is my personal favorite. Curious George. It's a dude. Quit encouraging mental illness, you demon. You heard me right. Curious George said, it's a dude. Quit encouraging mental illness, you demon. Will Washington using a video clip of Chris Pratt saying, what the fuck, man? Cab man. He's a man. And Cody Rodrigo, please email Rick Steiner's co-workers and fellow school board members about how you feel about him leading a school board. And they had provided a whole bunch of emails. So that is, a sense of what I was dealing with in basically defending Gisele Shaw. Notice that all of those people, they didn't even dare touch, the stuff about, hey, man, what's going on with Rick Steiner here. And when you read some of the comments, when you go into their own respective feeds, these were people, majority of them, that were sticking up for Rick Steiner. These were people that were berating, belittling, making fun of Gisele Shaw for being transgendered. And, but let me see if I got this straight. Marinate with me on this one for a little bit. Let me see if I got this straight. So because I accepted the fact that this person chooses to identify themselves as a woman, this makes me wrong and that I've got some type of a mental illness. Okay, I got it. Because I said that this person is still beautiful, basically meaning, hey, my definition, and as the comment you heard earlier, one guy has said hot, it's like, no, for me, my whole thing is, hey, as a human being, you're still beautiful. You're still a cool person. Pay no mind on what the other people, live your life. Do you. That's how I was looking at it. That's my true meaning of Gisele. I just thought it was so funny seeing all these people that, obviously, and what all of these people have in common when you look at the ones that were responding to what I said negatively, what they all have in common, barely any followers. They're lucky if I think the highest I saw was maybe one person had 35 followers. All of them are hiding behind avatars, caricatures, little movie posters, little video game posters. So this gives you a sense of the type of games that, stay being played on social media and all that. That is why I do my best for my mental health, that is why I do my best to avoid social media, unless it's the watch along for the shows, I'm live tweeting, or I'm blasting something out, I'm getting ready to do a show. I'm pretty much low key, although I love it on the Facebook page and I love it on the YouTube communities joint because I love interacting with you guys, posting random stuff, and you guys always show a lot of love on those platforms, the Twitters, the Instagrams, and that's why I just pretty much, for the most part, if I ain't live tweeting a show, I'm plugging my shit, or I'm plugging a friend's show or whatever, right? And I keep it moving along. That's like the best way to do it because of the level of toxicity. It is on another fucking level. And if you're not careful, it will definitely mess you up. It'll definitely mess you up. But I loved seeing all of these people that had assumed that because I said what I said, they assumed that I was gay, or something was wrong with me. I love that. Right? And I'm like this. When you are comfortable in your own skin as a human being, when you know what you like, when you're comfortable with your own sexual identity, nothing else even matters. Now, I'm happy to say that I'm a straight man. I'm happy to say that. Okay? But at the same time, the way I was brought up, the way I was raised, treat people the way you want to be treated. And as I got older, that is something my wife will tell you. If you ever have the opportunity to meet me and my wife in person, ask Tam. She'll tell you. Be like, what's one of Lee's favorite models? And she'll tell you. Treat people the way you want to be treated. And I always add this new little thing that I add to it. I say, I would think with respect. That's how I've always lived my life in every single thing that I've done, in situations where I've had an opportunity to befriend somebody. I always treat people how I want to be treated, and that's with respect. I don't give a fuck if you're black. I don't give a fuck if you're white. I don't give a fuck if you're straight. I don't give a fuck if you're gay. I don't give a fuck if none of that. I don't give a fuck if you think the world is round or the earth is flat. I don't. Look, just treat me with respect. I'm going to treat you with respect. It's that simple. It's that simple. Once you give me the ultimate disrespect, you show me basically you don't care for me as a human being, you're dead to me. You're dead to me. And I don't want nothing to do with you. Right? So, it's interesting. It's very very interesting what's going on there. I was almost reminded of a friend of mine from, some years back. He was in the war, and long story short, he ended up changing genders. He changed his identity. He had got hormone treatment, the whole 9 yards, and everything. It was a weird experience, seeing that person go through all of that, but they were still the same person, that I had grew up with and everything. Nothing had changed, and it was just they were different now. Instead of them being a man, they were now living their life as a woman and everything. And notice I said this person used to be my friend. So over the years, just they ended up moving to another state, ultimately, because they had, met this real nice, cool person, and plus they had more, better financial opportunities, out where they're living about now and everything. But they were really, really cool, but they had a lot of bad days. I saw firsthand, what it was like for them as a result of being in the war. I saw what it was like for them firsthand being back in the States, and man, they had to do some serious therapy and a whole bunch of other stuff for a lot of fucking years. And as a friend, you want to be there for them and let them know, hey, whatever you need, you just want to shoot the shit, get some stuff off your chest, go shoot some pool, whatever you need, it's cool. But what ultimately had boggled me down and just, I can't keep doing this. There's only so much a person can take of, I just want to kill myself. What's the point of living? And you've got your own battles that you got to deal with and everything, so you can't really, as much as you would like to, you can't really, you got to keep it moving along. You got your own fucking, problems that you got to deal with and all of that, so. But I guess for me, I've always just been a very open-minded person. I've always been able to look at the entire picture and not just focus on one thing, one piece, right? And unfortunately, a lot of others, they don't really, as you just heard with all of those comments, there's a lot of narrow-minded motherfuckers out there, right? So I hope that, and going about this for as long as we did, because we're almost out of show time. We've done this is our fourth show, because we did Friday night, we did Saturday night, we did Sunday, and now we had it's like our fourth show, so not really too much more to get into. We're almost about to dip. But I really hope by going in depth about this as I did, I really hope you guys come away with a better perspective, because ultimately this might be you. You might be that Gisele Shaw, or you might know somebody that is like a Gisele Shaw, or this could be, what I'm saying? This could be your brother. This could be your sister. This could be your father. This could be your mother, right? This could be your kid. You gotta be careful how you tread here, and The mind can be very, very fragile. It really can. Under unfortunate circumstances, the mind can be very, very fragile. So, learn from this and don't fall victim to this dark web of social toxicity. Do better. Do better. I would like to believe that we were all put on this earth for a purpose, and that's definitely to spread positivity, definitely some form of paying it forward and all that. But yeah, the longer that this goes on without Rick Steiner and Scott Steiner saying anything, issuing some type of a statement, definitely adds some serious validity to everything that was done over the weekend. It looks really bad. So that's that. Some other stuff that we can get into, because we're literally getting ready to wrap it up. Not too much more. No, what's going on there? I got a notification. Not too much more to get into. I know we got AEW programming for this week. We'll get into that in just a hot second. Matter of fact, first up, Dark Elevation. Here's the card for this week's AEW Dark Elevation. We've got the AEW World Tag Team Title Eliminator match. The Guns taking on Infantry. Gates of Agony and Linus and Maximus. We got Action Andrade facing Nick Camarado. Angelica Risk facing Sky Blue. Bryce Cannon takes on Lance Archer. Kelsey Heather goes one-on-one against Julia Hart. Meanwhile, Kip Sabian faces Leon Ruff. This week's AEW Dynamite, here's your preview. Juice Robinson takes on Ricky Starks one-on-one. MJF Day in Long Island, New York. Jamie Hayter takes on Rio for the Women's Championship, the AEW Women's Championship. Blackpool Combat Club will be in the house. And remember, we've got in the main event the Guns defending the AEW tag titles against FTR. It's titles versus career. That's what's going to be going down for this week's AEW Dynamite. We will close out with this, which is the WWE Endeavor deal, as Endeavor is acquiring WWE, and as a result of that, WWE is going to be merging with the UFC. So CNBC, as you guys recall, they were the first, or among the first, to report via their sources that a deal between WWE and Endeavor was imminent and could be announced the next day. And as we had saw Monday of April 3rd, that news was confirmed, and Endeavor and WWE officially announced the deal under which WWE will merge with UFC to form a new publicly traded company. The name of the new entity was not announced, but it was stated that it will trade under the symbol TKO. Endeavor holds a 51% stake in TKO, with the WWE shareholders having a 49% stake, marking the first time that WWE has not been controlled by the McMahon family. So we have Emmanuel, I forgot his last name. He's going to be serving as the CEO of this new entity, while Mark Shapiro will serve as the president and chief operating officer. Vince McMahon, meanwhile, will serve as an executive chairman. As with Endeavor's ownership of UFC, Emmanuel will not take on any creative roles, with current WWE CEO Nick Khan being named president of WWE in a similar capacity to Dana White's role in the UFC. Dana White, meanwhile, he's pretty much going to stay right where he is and everything. Emmanuel stated that this merger would bring two leading pure play sports and entertainment companies and provide significant operating synergies, while McMahon stated that given the incredible work that Ari and Endeavor, I think it's Ari Emanuel, and Endeavor have done to grow the UFC brand, nearly doubling its revenue over the past 7 years, and the immense success we've already had in partnering with their team on a number of ventures, I believe this is without a doubt the best outcome for our shareholders and other stockholders. The deal is expected to be completed during the second half of 2023. Wait, there's more. So, what about WWE and their relationship with Saudi Arabia? Because remember, Saudi Arabia, they tried to see about acquiring the UFC and all that. Remember that? And ultimately, whatever money they had kicked in, Saudi Arabia did, that money was returned to them by an ever, basically. They're like, yeah, we're good. So Tony Khan, I wish it was Tony Khan. I got my Khans mixed up. Nick Khan. Nick Khan. Maybe that's his announcement, right? We'll have to see what that announcement is on Wednesday. Don't forget that. Tony Khan kept reminding us every hour of the day this weekend. He's got some big announcement that's coming up. Nick Khan did a interview with Axios. And he said that the WWE will continue to do business with Saudi Arabia even after being ultimately sold to Endeavor. Khan also commented on WWE's linear TV rights deal with NBC, Universal, and Fox, which is up next year, noting that both of them have the right of first refusal. WWE's streaming deal with Peacock expires in 2026. WWE and UFC will have the ability to pursue a joint TV rights deal in the future if they choose to. UFC's deal with ESPN, you want to be watching that because that's going to be expiring in 2025. So here's what Nick Khan had to say in regards to the negotiations between Fox and NBC Universal. The most important thing that is NBC and Fox from a WWE standpoint of view is they feel respected in the process. So we're going to enter those conversations with them. The right of first refusal just starts now. We're going to see what that looks like, and hopefully it's robust and we don't get out of the right of first window and we strike a deal with each of them. If we're not able to do that, we'll see what the marketplace has to say and ultimately choose the right partner for the WWE audience and our shareholders. He also talked about the possibility of layoffs or staff changes, saying we're not sure. An integration team is going to be put into place between both companies in short order, and we'll know. We'll have a lot more in the next week or two. So there's a lot of moving parts here in regards to this merger. Everything is still pretty fresh. Everything is still, right? Ink is drying. Things is pretty much underway now, but both parties, they pretty much have until later on in the year to look. You both said I do, right? Okay, well look, here's your deadline if you maybe want to back out. Otherwise, it will be done by this date, right? So I really hope that as far as the deals go with Fox, I hope that WWE is able to work something out and they'll be able to continue to stay with Fox, because I think it's a great partner. It is ultimately a really good partner. The numbers have been very consistent every single week. They've been able to maintain, for the most part, the same level of viewership, which is really, really good. Anytime you're watching some type of a sporting event, be it NASCAR, the NFL, I mean, they stay getting the love. Even if you're watching FS1 or one of the other Fox cable joints, hell, you could even be watching Fox Cable News Network. WWE stay getting love on all of those respected networks under the same umbrella company. I think Fox has served as a really, really good partner, and I think most wrestling fans, I really think they would be sad. I won't say devastated, that's too strong of a word, but I definitely feel that if they weren't able to work something out with Fox, that would be a pretty significant blow for fans if whoever they ink a deal with, because think about this. most people, they're cutting the cords these days. I mean, I remember I was in the Soup Discord the other day, and we all were comparing notes on how much we're paying for cable, and I ended up winning because I had the lowest, since I'm with Xfinity right now for the next little bit. But I remember one person was saying, yo, I'm paying almost $250. Another person was saying, well, shit, I'm paying $200. Another person said, I'm paying $185. I said, shit, I'm paying $117. Like, yeah, you win. And right, so yeah, now more than ever, it is getting more and more expensive to have cable satellite television. So as a result of that, you got a decent amount of people that's cutting the cords. They're looking at stuff like YouTube TV or Sling TV, and their whole thing is, look, as long as I'm able to get my local channels, nothing else really matters. I'm pretty much good to go. I'll be all right. Okay. And so I think it's really cool that if you're in a position where, hey, I may not have my cable channels anymore, but that's all right because I'm able to watch local TV. So as a result of that, I get to watch SmackDown. I get to watch. So I think it would be bad if WWE broke away from Fox, or let's just be hypothetical. Maybe Fox says, too rich for our blood. Sorry, we'd love to, but no. Well, that'd be unfortunate for that WWE fan, especially that WWE fan that cut the cord, and they're pretty much relying on basic television. Okay, so that's one show that they're not going to be able to check out anymore, unfortunately, right? So I think the deal, if they were not able to renew with Fox, I think fans would be all right with it. So as long as, okay, so what does this mean? Does this mean that WWE is going to be seen on, I don't know, ABC? Does this mean it'll be seen on CBS? Does this mean, you feel where I'm coming from? Or, okay, no, we're going to go back to cable. And then if you were to, go back to cable, who's going to be airing it? That'd be the whole question. Who's going to be airing it? I know USA, they have loved the relationship that they've had with WWE all these years. They have been a really good partner, right down to the point they've done a better job of preempting Monday Night Raw. And the rare times when Raw does have to be preempted, maybe because of a dog show or, you fill in the blanks, it's like maybe once out of the whole freaking year, twice really pushing it. So, but they have stayed touting how much they've appreciated. I mean, really think about it. As long as we've been watching WWE Raw on the USA Network, you can literally say that because of Monday Night Raw has been able to be the catalyst for all things that has ultimately become of the USA Network, where, I still remember one of their original slogans from back in the day, characters matter. Remember that? Remember that whole ad campaign from back in the day? So, I mean, I still remember where USA was many years back, when Monday Night Raw had first started and all that, and just, night and day, compared to now and everything. So, if I were to make a prediction, it's still early, obviously any and everything can happen, but if I were to make a prediction, I think the deals between Fox and NBC Universal, I think that's going to work out. WWE is going to try their best to make things work out with NBC Universal, because here's the other thing that you got to think of. If WWE is not able to work things out, then that means not just Monday Night Raw, but that also means, well, shit, as far as Peacock goes, WWE on Peacock, that means now all of that will disappear, and the fans will have to shift to some other streaming platform through, you feel where I'm coming from? So, and I would like to believe that that's the last thing that WWE wants to put its fans through. which makes this whole situation with the first right of refusal deal, that much more appealing. But I don't see anything changing here. I don't. Worst case scenario, Fox goes, yeah, for the amount of money that we've paid you for all these years and the return that it's not quite adding up, we want a lower deal. And then the question becomes, well, does WWE accept that lower deal and knows that they're going to still be able to make that up and then some? Do they go ahead, accept that discount just so they can continue to have that partner in Fox? Or do they play hardball and, okay, well, sorry you feel that way, and SmackDown goes elsewhere? So there's a lot of interesting moving parts in here. I mean, the ink is still fresh, but who would have thunk it that Vince McMahon, the scandals, just everything, and all this bullshit that was going on with his sexual misconduct, these allegations, this guy does all this heinous bullshit, and he was able to find somebody out there to do business with him and make him a ton of fucking money. How much is Triple H getting again? I think he's getting $15 million as a result of this deal. So you're going, holy shit. Everybody is getting paid. Everybody is getting paid off of this fucking deal, man. And it's been interesting just seeing the comments. There's been some WWE fans that's pretty much said, well, I'm done with the WWE. And you're like, really? Of all the things that you could this is how you're gonna say, I'm out. Not the allegations going on with Vince McMahon. No, not that. Not WWE working with Saudi Arabia. Not that. Not, No, the merger with UFC, Endeavor. God damn it, that's the final straw. That's it right there. Like, dude, were you ever really a WWE fan to begin with? Were you ever really a wrestling fan to begin with? That would be my fucking question. We've been cutting it up today on social media, just kind of going, who's the worst fan? The wrestling fan or the UFC fan? And so far, the wrestling fans are... Look, majority of the wrestling fans, they're good people, but you got some weird screwballs out there. But, there's a couple of things that's going on out there where we're going... Well, not for nothing. I've personally never seen a UFC fan tackle a talent. I've never seen a UFC fan stalk a talent. There was a thread that I was tagged in. Shout out to my homeboy, Missionary Thomas there from Wrestling Soup. And he put this, get involved if you got Twitter. It's a really good thread. He said, now the ultimate question, which toxic fan base will ultimately win the social media wars that are coming? And so far, with 68% of the votes, the WWE/wrestling fans are top dog. UFC MMA fans are at 31%. So, yeah, it's interesting. I'll just read to you some of the responses here. It's like fucking ridiculous. Meme Hole said, cause the UFC fighters would beat the ever-living fuck out of them if they did. Stalk Conor McGregor and sue him? No worries, as he would make that money back fighting, win, lose, or draw. Fucking crazy, man. Fucking crazy. He goes on to say, I had a thought. Both UFC and WWE have streaming services, but I wonder, does Endeavor launch their own global channel? While they would not get TV rights, they would get 100% ad revenue and profits. They allow things like the XFL and other shows as well, and boom, that's more money. It's a very valid point, because remember, Endeavor, as part of their portfolio, portfolio, like as far as who they also work with besides XFL, they're also working with the NFL. I think they work with the NHL as well. So this is a company, probably just came out of clear blue for most people, but this is a company that has been around since 2009, and for the most part, the stock market is fairly kind to them. It seems, as far as consistently goes and all that. So they picked the right partner. I just can't help but wonder, though, if, did y'all really need Vince McMahon for this? You're telling me Triple H, Stephanie McMahon, Nick Khan, they couldn't. Vince had to be, and then here's the other thing, going back to the whole Vince thing, because this is all up in the air right now. You got Vince McMahon. There's this great clip. Matter of fact, I took a screenshot of it. There's this great thing from Vince McMahon in the interview that he gave a while back, and let me see if I can find. Let me see here. I think I have it here. Hang on. Yes, I do. Hang on. Yeah. Shout out to my boy Jason Solomon from Solomon Sounds Off. He said it's worth noting that Vince McMahon said that he will be involved in WWE creative on a higher level, but won't be in the weeds with it anymore. He used those exact words when he appointed Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff to lead Raw and SmackDown, and we saw how that turned out. Exactly. It's like, so, we've heard all this stuff from Bruce Pritchard and anybody else. No, Vince is not involved. Vince isn't, he doesn't say anything. And then you hear, oh, well, he's got his own little office right across from the Gorilla Joint, and he's talking to the talents. He's giving them advice. He's giving them suggestions. But apparently Triple H is the one who, how I look at that. It reminds me of the infamous episode of The Odd Couple. This would have been from the second season of The Odd Couple, if I'm not mistaken. The original Odd Couple, too, I'm talking about, with Tony Randall and Jack Klugman. And it's the episode where Felix's son is playing kiddie football, and he wants to get involved in it so bad that he convinces Oscar to let him be the coach of the team. And the son, he already knows, like, that would not be a good idea, because his dad's pretty geeky. He's very particular, and so he really doesn't want Felix to have anything to do. But Oscar's like, look, just be a pal. This would mean so much to him, because it's his way of bonding with you and the rest of the kids. Just tell you what, listen to everything. Just pretend that you're listening to everything that he's saying to you, and then just come back in here into the locker room, and I'll tell you the official play-by-play. I'll tell you the schemes, everything that you need to do, and he'll still get all the credit, and it'll make him feel like he actually did something, right? So just imagine being that talent. You feel where I'm coming from? So in this case, Triple H is Triple H really Oscar, or is Triple H more the Felix, right? I'll let you guys debate on that one, right? But you get the analogy that I'm using there, right? It's just, wow, guy is in his late 70s. He really is. I do believe one thing, kind of following up on what he said on that Pat McAfee interview. I do truly believe he will die. He will fucking die at the desk doing what he does best. He will die while being on the clock doing something WWE related. He ain't dying at home. It ain't happening. No way, no how. You can pretty much forget about that. And where have we heard this before, too? Just kind of pile on to what Jason had referenced there a few seconds ago. Let's not forget, let's not forget that, it wasn't that long ago we had that whole Stephanie McMahon meeting, and nothing's going to change, everything is still the same. And then what was it? Was it even a week? Did Stephanie even make it a week? And then she dipped out. She fucking dipped out. So you're looking at that and you're going, okay, I hear what you're talking about right now, and then you had Triple H and Nick Khan. Apparently they had, led the meeting with the talent from earlier today, a couple hours before Raw has started, pretty much letting them know, hey, look, everything is going to remain the same. You ain't got to worry about nothing. The ink is still dry, yada, yada, yada. Nick's going to be in this position. Hey, I'm going to be in this position. But as far as Vince McMahon's plans for creative, is he going to be more hands-on? What's going on? Nothing of that was addressed. By the way, that is one mean-ass mustache on Vince McMahon. Seriously, the more and more that I'm looking at that, the more and more that I'm going, he rode a blazing saddle. Shout out if you get that reference. I mean, seriously, that is one mean-ass mustache. But there is just so much that's in the air right now. It's really hard for me to look at this as a good deal. Sure, the fact that you found somebody to do business with and they're forking up X amount of money to, that's great. Sure, the fact that now this is pretty much going to be a situation here where, depending on what happens with the Fox, NBC, Universal deals, WWE, if it wants to, especially through Endeavor, if Endeavor goes, well, look, let's just bring it all in-house. We'll launch our own streaming service. We can do it, and we'll do XYZ, da-da-da-da. Man, they'll really talk about restraints being lifted from, I'm not saying you're going to see TV 14, but, that does help WWE go through some significant hurdles. It would help them go through some significant hurdles, would it not? So, you have to kind of, think about it from that standpoint as well. But, money-wise, great. You found a partner. They're willing to, right? That's great. Everybody is making so much money, right? That's great. But what's the catch to all this? How are things gonna look, once this deal really is official here? And right, are things really going to remain the same? Or are we going to end up seeing some weird type of cross-branding that's going to be happening between these two respective promotions? Or are they truly going to continue to serve as its own respected entities that it has been, up to now? It's very, very interesting. But one thing is for certain, the UFC fans and the wrestling fans, you got a decent amount of wrestling fans that mean well, cool fucking people that just happen to be UFC fans, MMA fans. And so, it's all very similar. Theatrics and all, it's all very similar. You got some that are just, I'm just all about the MMA, the UFC, my boxing. I don't care for that wrestling stuff. And then vice versa. So, I don't think there's going to be any, hatred, animosity, or, obviously we were having jokes earlier, but, it does kind of bring up a really, fun question as far as the social media game, who potentially could be toxic down the road. We'll just have to wait and see how that all plays out. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts, though, about this. What I'll probably do on top of the timestamps, I'll definitely make this be a standalone piece so that you guys can find it more easily, sound off, and let your voices be heard about what's going on with this whole stuff. But if you would have told me when I first started this podcast in 2011 that in 2023 WWE would be acquired and there'd be some type of a merger with the UFC to form some new company, I would go, huh? Not that there was any hatred or any animosity between Dana White, the UFC, Vince McMahon. They all stayed, constant communication, always circling around each other. Always in a flock together. So to hear this, two things can be said that's true. It doesn't surprise me, but it kind of does at the same time, if that makes any sense to you guys. Sound off, let me know. All right, so quick programming notes as we get ready to wrap up here. That's it. No more shows for the rest of this week. I am on vacation. However, I will be back Friday, which is going to be, I believe that's going to be April the 7th. Yeah, April the 7th. I will be back, but I'll be back via the 401mania.com website. I'll be providing live coverage of AEW Rampage. So if you guys are around, don't have anything to do, you're going to be out and about, not going to be able to watch Rampage in real time, bookmark the 401mania.com site. Come hang out with me and everybody else. We've got a great community over there. And then I immediately follow up with a written up review for that episode of Rampage. It'll be coming on at its regular day and time of Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern. And then afterwards, most likely, I'll probably at that point have a couple of more WoW recaps that'll come out that weekend, but regular programming will be back in full effect on Monday, April 10th, 2023, after WWE RAW goes off the air. Be kind, rewind, check out previous episodes of the RCWR show you may have missed on demand and on the downloads. Lord knows we put out a ton of shows from last week all the way up to now. So find us wherever you get your podcast. Just search the RCWR show. Leave those ratings and reviews on those podcasting platforms and all that. I'm on the Twitter, the YouTube and Facebook. Use the keywords the RCWR show. Shout out to friends of the show. Shout out to Anthony Missionary Thomas and Joy Numbers of Wrestling Soup. Shout out to my boy Julian Cannon of the Nocturnal and Digiday. Shout out to my boy Screaming Bullseye 1. Shout out to Matt Coon. I love what's been going on with Matt Coon as of late. Enjoying what they've been doing over there with the FTR podcast and all that. I'm really happy for those guys, particularly Matt. Matt's actually from out here in the DMV, in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. So one of these days, I got to see what's going on with Matt's schedule. One of these days, I got to see if he'd be down for a collab and come on by, talk some wrestling, talk some music and all that. I think you guys would definitely enjoy that for sure. All right, guys, that is going to do it. Until next go round, I'm wishing all of y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. If you're going to be looking for the audio version of this, I will start working on it right now, and I will make it be available within the next 30 minutes or less. Okay? Take care, y'all. Peace.